Alrighty, hello everyone. I am here today to talk to you about the ASPCA. It stands for the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. On History.com, I found out that Henry Birch started the ASPCA. In New York, Birch pleaded on the behalf of Henry Birch created the ASPCA in New York. Birch pleaded on the behalf of these mute servants of mankind on February 8th of 1866. The reason why this happened was because he was walking along the streets in New York and he found this servant beating a horse, which he thought was completely wrong, and he hated watching it. So they had a meeting at Cloten Hall, and he argued that protecting animals was an issue that crossed party lines and class boundaries. This is a matter of purely co-science, and it was non-perplexing side issues. He said it was a moral question in all aspects. The speech prompted a number of people to his Declaration of the Rights of Animals. He convinced the New York State Legislature to pass an anti-cruelty law in the U.S. on April 10th of 1866, and just 9 days later it was passed and allowed ASPCA to investigate complaints of animal cruelty to make animals better. On animalabusestat.com, I found a chart that simply explains the percentage in 2016 of the 2,000 animals in the United States that were abused, which I will show you about later. The purpose of the ASPCA is to eradicate acts of animal abuse and animal neglect. The ASPCA has offices and organizations all across the United States that are dedicated to helping animals and finding safe homes for all of them. The ASPCA works in various areas, such as anti-cruelty, animal cruelty through the whole process, anti-cruelty and animal cruelty through professional education enforcement of anti-cruelty laws and lobbying. For stronger humane legislation nationwide, the ASPCA employs law enforcement officers to notify them of any acts of abuse towards animals. This foundation has animal behaviorists and investigators, a legal department, and many other ways to help determine if abuse is occurring and removing animals that have been abused to make them happy and healthy. I read an article on CNN.com about when a man was buying a storage unit and it was being auctioned off, and a bunch of people were there and no one knew about it, but when he opened the storage unit, they found 40 frozen cats in a freezer, I should say, which is completely insane on why the lady would put 40 animals in a storage unit and keep them frozen for God knows how long it's been there, so they had to track her down for it. So that's why one of the reasons ASPCA is here today. People need to stop physically abusing their animals and letting them run away on purpose, hurting them, using them for fighting, and there are more animals that we know about in the world. The ASPCA shelters are overloaded with animals that need homes. We need people to stop breeding and to take care of their animals. There is an ASPCA in every state, which helps a lot and allows people to bring stray animals in to help them survive. The ASPCA is also allowed to warrant to search a home if there's any suspicion if someone was not taking care of their animals correctly, and for them to seize them and get them better and find a better home. By stopping puppy mills and dog fighting or even horse slaughtering, there is many more things that happen to them. We would no longer have to worry about fights and horrific sights of these things that people are capable of doing to animals. As there is a law passed and every state agrees, we can go along and make these laws. On ASPCAfundraiser.com, I found out there's a bunch of ways that we can help stop this. There's a 2017 ASPCA virtual walk that you can sign up for. I believe it's a 5K. There's also a wedding campaign, a memorial campaign, a birthday campaign, a Rockstar Pet campaign, and a Team ASPCA athletic event. The memorial campaign involves a beloved person or pet and to pay tribute time and love and continue to feel for them. It is made and remember to honor the memory by helping to ensure a better life for an animal. The wedding campaign is to create a personal fundraising page and share it with your wedding by making a difference in lives of animals. And the Rockstar Pet campaign is to show off your Rockstar pet in your life. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story about when I found a dog at the ASPCA, since I volunteer there every Saturday, and his name was Cody. They found him walking along the streets. He was underneath a bridge where someone reported him to one of the officers, and they went out and grabbed him. When they found him, they found a huge mark along his neck, like it was his collar engraved in him. And he was all dried up blood because it was probably sitting there for about a month until someone found him. He was like a pretty golden doodle type dog. So they had to do surgery on him, and so the collar was so tightly engraved in his neck that they had to actually pull it out and wrap it up with stitches, and it took about a couple months to recover. But now he is a perfect dog. He's so happy running around, and he's living with me now, and he's about 2 years old, and they found him when I guess he was a little puppy, and then I saved him because he was in so much trouble and needed a good home to be at. And I'm going to show you a presentation to give you a little bit more information about the ASPCA. Okay, so I did my speech on the ASPCA, and I just wanted to give you a quick view of my PowerPoint. What does the ASPCA stand for? It stands for the American Society for the Prevention of Animals, which this chart that I decided to put on my PowerPoint today was from the animal abuse statistics, and it shows the way of how people would kill their animals and the percentages of how the animals would die. So the neglect/abandonment was 32%, shooting was 11%, hoarding was 13%, beating was 8%, fighting was 9%, stabbing was 5%, torture was 5%, choking, suffocation was 3%, other was 2%, burning was 2%, and poisoning was 10%, which I find this chart very heartbreaking because you shouldn't ever have to see any of this happen to an animal ever, and none of them should ever be treated like that. This all started by Henry Berg, and he created the ASPCA in 1866. And the next picture shows the reason behind it was because horses were being abused by the peasants, and he couldn't stand to look at it, and he felt very upset when he watched it happen. So he called a meeting in New York, and the law was passed in 1866 on April 10th. Here's a couple pictures that I found on Google just to show you about how some of these dogs and cats and every other animal that you can think of could be neglected, and a lot of them are very skinny. A lot of them look like their collars are embedded in their necks, just like I told you about my dog. That's what happened to him, and some of them just look like they've been beaten up by other animals or beaten by people, dog fights, anything that you could possibly think of. And I just wanted to show you a couple pictures of my dog that I rescued. I don't have any pictures of when I first got him because it was on my other phone, but his name's Cody. He's a beautiful golden doodle, and I'm very happy that I saved his life because now he has a nice new home to be at. And last but not least, at the end of this, all I hope is that you think about is saving any animal that you see in danger. Spend some more time thinking about participating in a fundraiser to help any organization that is out there to help animals and provide any of them with enough money to be able to take care of any medical expenses to save these animals. Thank you.